Okay, so hey there guys. So today's video is going to be products that I used up in 2018. This is my final update for products that I used up throughout the year. It also is New Year's Eve, so happy New Year's Eve guys. I'm hoping to get this video up on New Year's Eve, but probably not because my boyfriend's supposed to pick me up in a little while. I decided to film while I was waiting for him to come get me. I think he's going to be here in about an hour. So I don't think it should take longer than an hour to explain the things that I hit pan on and also used up this year. So let's jump into the video because I always can talk and sit and talk for a million years, but I really hope everyone has a safe and happy new year, and let's jump into the video. So the most progress that I made this year was on foundations and eyeshadows. I actually hit pan in some palettes this year for eyeshadow palettes, which is insane to me. And I also hit pan on a couple of single shadows, but mostly in 3 palettes this year. So maybe I should just jump into those first because they're like the most exciting thing for me to share with you guys. Like, I cannot believe I hit pan in all of these palettes. So let's just share those things with you first. So the first palette that I wanted to talk about, and I'm pretty sure you guys know which one I'm going to be talking about because you guys know I have been updating you guys throughout the year about my progress in this palette, and that is the Anastasia Modern Renaissance palette. In the last video, I believe I had hit pan in 2 shades, in the 2 shimmer shades, Vermeer and Primavera. Well, I'm happy to update you guys that I actually hit pan in 3 more shadows in this palette this year. So I have officially hit pan in 5 shades in this palette, which is insanely mind-blowing to me because I know that Anastasia shadows are extremely simple to hit pan on, but for me to hit pan in eyeshadow is a huge deal. And also, I never hit pan in a palette. So the fact that I've hit pan in 5 shades in this palette is insane to me. I've had this palette for almost, I think, 3 years now, at least since 2016 when it came out. I believe I've had it since like May or June of like 2016. I definitely had it throughout the whole year this year, and I believe throughout the whole year last year. So I think I've had it for a while. I feel like I need to declutter it at some point because I don't think the shadows perform as well as they used to at all, but I just can't let it go because it's just so nostalgic to me, and this is one of my all-time favorite palettes. So without further ado, let's actually talk about which shades I hit pan on. So I hit pan on both of the shimmer shades in the palette. So this first one is called Vermeer. So let's just show you guys that one, if you can see the progress I made in that one. And then Primavera, pretty much the same. I use these 2 constantly on my inner corners anytime I use this palette. I don't necessarily always use them on my lid because, like I've said before about this palette, they don't really have too many lid options. So I like using these mattes in this palette along with coinciding like singles or other shadows that I want to use, and I'll pop those on the inner corners. I won't necessarily use them on my lid every time I use this palette just because I like a little bit of variety, and that way I can incorporate something else while still using the mattes and still using this palette. So those are the 2 shimmer shades, and then I also hit pan I believe after these 2, I hit pan in Cypress Umber, so that is definitely the 3rd shadow that I hit pan on in this palette because this is the shade that I always use on my outer corners every time I use this palette, so that's why this one pretty much has the biggest dent in the entire palette. So this one is Cypress Umber. It's a really beautiful dark brown outer corner shade. And then I believe the next shade I hit pan on was Venetian Red, which is absolutely mind-blowing to me because this one's definitely one that I don't use as often as the other 4 shades that I'm talking about, but somehow I hit pan in this one as well. This is one of my favorite red shadows of all time. It's so gorgeously pigmented. Usually I use it to define my crease, and I also use it on the lower lash line. So I hit pan on this not too much later than this one. So that was crazy as well. And then the last one I hit pan on is, let me just show you Venetian Red real quick, and then Cypress Umber. Do you see that huge dent? The last one I hit pan on is, of course, Tempera, which I say of course because Tempera is the one that I use on my brow bone every single time I use the palette. But it is insane to me that I didn't hit pan on this one until I hit pan on this one. So this was actually the last one I hit pan on this year. So I usually 100% of the time use this on my brow bone, but I was also using it with different like single shadows and stuff just so I could hit pan on it at some point. And I did, so this is crazy to me. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep this palette throughout this next year. I feel like the eyeshadows are definitely losing some of their pigment. They're kind of getting a little bit crumbly now. They're kind of getting desaturated and like very, just not true to color, just not the same as they used to be. But I'll think about it when I actually use it again or a couple more times. I was trying to hit pan on one Fresco before I actually shared this video, but I am so happy that I hit pan on almost half of this palette this year, so I hope to continue my progress throughout next year. But again, I might declutter it around like spring or summer next year. I'm not really sure yet. We'll see after like February or March whether or not I still really want to use it. It's still one of my favorites, but at the same time I have so many palettes that I might just want to declutter it so I can really enjoy the palettes that are in my collection that I know and love, and just get rid of something that I just don't need in my collection anymore. I know I've said before that this is like my all-time favorite palette, but honestly I kind of like other palettes more than this one now, because I realized that probably the Lime Crime Venus XL palette is one of my holy grail palettes, because that shade just has so many more, that palette has just so many more lid options. But this is still a solid, great palette. I mean, it's some of people's holy grail favorite palette. So that is it for that palette. So now let's get into the next palette that I hit pan on one shade in. Because the rest of these the other two palettes I'm going to show you, I've only hit pan on one shade. But again, that's insane to me. So the next shade, palette I wanted to talk about is the Dose of Colors Baked Browns eyeshadow palette. I don't know if I shared this in my halfway through the year update, but I'm going to share it now. I actually did hit pan on one shade in this palette, which is crazy to me because this one is definitely the more recent add to my collection than the other two that I'm going to talk about, and I hit pan on this probably faster than any of these besides the two shimmer shades in the Anastasia palette. I think I hit pan on this shade in this palette a little bit after I hit pan on the shimmer shades in the Anastasia palette. So the shade I'm going to be talking about is this matte brown shade right here. And this is the progress that I've made on this one. Now, I guess the reason why I have pretty deep pan in this one is that maybe I dug my brush a lot in the bottom of this pan. But this shade is called Outdoorsy. And I found it pretty easy to hit pan on this one. I usually use this 99% of the time when I use this palette. This palette is so good, you guys. These mattes are so creamy, so pigmented, so blendable. The Dose of Colors formula is one of my favorite eyeshadow formulas. This eyeshadow palette is a really solid eyeshadow palette. And you can use this for just all matte shades and popping a lid shade on the lid, or you can put this on the brow bone and on the lid as well, and a little bit on the inner corners. Like, you don't have to do a shimmer. This is like a really solid matte palette, and the pigments and the blendability of this palette is so gorgeous. So it's crazy to me that I hit pan on this shade, and I have a pretty big dent in it. So that is the next shade that I wanted to talk about. And again, I love this palette, and I didn't really find it hard for me to hit pan on that one. So that's crazy to me, so I hit pan on that shade as well. And again, if you guys have any of these Dose of Colors matte palettes, they really are amazing. Ulta usually has them on sale when they do their 21 Days of Beauty, where you can get them for half price. Dose of Colors does a lot of sales on their website too. When their Black Friday sale was going on, they had like 40% off their whole website, and they have 20% off usually. So it's not too badly priced. It's like $35, but I would pay that because I think the eyeshadows are phenomenal. So that's it for that one. Now the next palette I wanted to talk about is the Stila Eyes Are the Window Shadow Palette. Now, I didn't even realize I had hit pan on this shade in this palette until like the next time I used it, because I didn't realize the time before when I used this, like, I don't know, like a month ago or something. I didn't realize I had hit pan on one of the shadows, but then when I was using it, I don't know, I guess when I literally didn't discover that I hit pan on it until I opened it up to use it again like a week or two ago when I when I used a lot of Stila in my look. I like using this palette when I use a lot of Stila, obviously. But anyway, I also hit pan on another matte brown like crease shade, because obviously those are like the shades that I'm going to use the most. So I hit pan on this middle shade right here, and this one is called Individual. Don't mind this empty pan. I actually had dropped this palette once, so I had to go and replace it. And then I dropped it again, and this entire eyeshadow just fell out. But thank God this is not a shade I typically use for this palette. I mostly use all the other shades, and obviously I use these 4 matte shades every single time I grab for this palette. So this shade is called Individual, and as you can see, I hit pan on this shade as well. So 3 palettes this year. Can you believe I've been goaling myself to hit pan on other eyeshadows and other palettes like the Natural Eyes palette from Too Faced, the Tartelette and Bloom palette, and I haven't hit pan on any of those, and I just so happen to hit pan on 2 other palettes that I've never goaled myself to hit pan on. So that is crazy to me. So that one I use all the time in my crease every single time I use this palette. So I hit pan on that one. And this one literally took no effort to hit pan. It's just because I use it every time I use it in my crease, and I don't use this palette very often. I use it probably like once a month, and I think that it's absolutely insane that I hit pan on that. So again, awesome, love it, and I'm so happy that I hit pan on that one. Okay, so that is it for the pans in eyeshadow palettes. Now let's just talk about just a couple of eyeshadows. Let me talk about the ColourPop ones first. So I swear, I feel like the ColourPop shadows have so much more products than the Makeup Geek shadows. You guys know I have had pan on the Makeup Geek shadows for quite a long time. And in this video, by the way, I'm only going to be really sharing the products I hit pan on this year. I'm not going to go into other products that I goaled myself to hit pan on because I made absolutely zero progress in them. I'm only going to share the ones that I hit pan on. So anyway, these are the 2 eyeshadows from ColourPop that I have pan on, which is crazy because I grab for these all the time. I'm wearing them on in my crease today along with a Makeup Forever glitter on my lid because I wore like a different outfit to work, and now I'm wearing this to his house for Christmas, for New Year's Eve. It's just a chill, sparkly sweater, and I'm just going to be putting on some rain boots because it's kind of shitty outside, and I'm just wearing black jeans. So I thought this was a simple enough, nice outfit to wear. So anyway, the first shade I wanted to talk about is, of course, Firefly. This one I use as my transition shade usually 99% of the time when I use ColourPop shadows. So this is the how much progress that I've made in the actual pan. This is how much I've actually expanded the pan. So as you can see that I'm actually using it as my transition shade today. I love it. It's just like a light, beautiful, like cool toned matte shade that it's like an ivory white, and I know that's like pretty light for my skin tone, but I love it as a transition shade. And then the other one that I hit pan on, which I can't believe there's only 2 that I hit pan on, but I just recently hit pan on this one finally. Like, I feel like it takes forever for me to hit pan on these eyeshadows, but I hit pan on the shade Note to Self. And this one I usually use in my crease as my defining shade, as my crease shade, and as my lower lash line shade. I'm using it as my defining shade today and my lower lash line shade. So I wanted to use my ColourPop shadows one more time today to see if I was going to hit pan on the other shade I'm going to talk about. But I hit pan on this one around like 1 or 2 weeks ago. And this one is a really beautiful matte brown, warm matte brown. So this one is called Note to Self from ColourPop. And I'm really happy about that I finally hit pan on it. And then the other one I was trying to hit pan on is ColourPop's Wake Up Call, which I have a huge dent in this one, but I still have not hit pan on it. And even if I try to swatch it, it's not, I feel like I'm so close to hitting pan on it. Maybe I'll hit pan on it in my products I want to use up in 2018. But I feel like I'm extremely close. As you guys can see, there's a huge, like, dent in it. So, again, like, I can't believe how long these eyeshadows actually last. It took me forever to hit pan on Note to Self because I didn't hit pan on it until, like, earlier in the month this year, so which is December. So it took me all a year to hit pan on it. So, and let me explain, I'm trying to hit pan on as well, but I'm going to, which I'm wearing in my inner corners today. It's like one of my favorite inner corner shades. But yeah, that is it for the ColourPop shadows. So that's that. Okay, so that is it for like recent eyeshadows that I've hit pan on. I'm just going to run through the Makeup Makeup Geek eyeshadows super quickly. You guys know I already have pan in these, but I'm just going to talk about them really quick. So Vanilla Bean is the brow bone highlight I always use from Makeup Geek, so I have a lot of pan on that as well this year. Then we have Peaches, no. This one is Beaches and Cream, which is my most used transition shade of all time. I've went through 3 of these, and this is my 4th one, and I believe I've hit pan on this one this past year. So this is the only other shade that I've hit pan on throughout the year, because this is my most used transition shade of all time. So I just wanted to update you guys that I have hit pan on it again, and I probably will use it up next year. I think I went through 1 at least this year in the Manny MUA Makeup Geek palette, which I think I've showed you guys that earlier in the year. I don't have to show you the empty pan again. This is the replacement for it, and I've hit pan on it. So that's that one. And then the next one is Peach Smoothie by Makeup Geek, which I have a crazy dent in, and the same thing with Creme Brulee. They pretty much have the same amount of product used up. I still have a backup of creme brulee sitting in my bathroom. I still haven't used up this one yet, and I was so nervous I was going to hit pan on this one at some point, or use it up at some point, but it's still sitting in my bathroom, so at least when I finally use it up, maybe I'll finally be able to use the new one. And then the 2 shimmer shades are Shimma Shimma and Rapunzel, which are like some of my favorite inner corner lid shades in the universe. I throw these on my lid when I just want to wear a supernatural look. I haven't worn supernatural looks lately because I've literally been wearing makeup like almost every day because I either have work or school. I'm finally off from school, but I've been working literally almost every day since I have been off from school. The only day I was off this week was Tuesday, which was Christmas. And then Thursday I was off too? Yes, I was off. And that was my boyfriend and I's anniversary, and we were supposed to go out to eat, but he was feeling really, really ill, and we weren't able to go out. So literally besides those 2 days, I haven't had any other day besides Thursday morning to or Thursday afternoon to relax because he had to go to sleep because he had went to the city the day before for his parents' anniversary. So, yeah, that's basically all I've been doing is working and seeing Josh. So, yeah. Hopefully we'll be able to do something for our anniversary this week. We're supposed to, like Wednesday or Thursday. So this one is Cupcake. This is the matte pink shade, and you guys know I've hit pan on this a while ago. So that is it for the, Makeup Geek shadows. So that is it for powder eyeshadows. I just want to show you the ColourPop eyeshadows that I have pan on of the Super Shock ones, and then we'll jump into some other products. So really, really quickly, I'm just going to show you guys the eyeshadows I have pan on. The first one is Porter from the Kathleen Lights Where the Night Is collection. This one is the beautiful burgundy red shade. Then the next one is Cricket, which is this really beautiful purple. I haven't used these in a while. Oh my god, the pigment just fell out. Oh my god. How did I know that was going to happen, like, right now? Shit. At least it didn't get all over my... How did I know that was going to fall out? I shouldn't have, like, held it like that. Crap. Sorry. I just didn't think I was going to get this on my sweater, but it's not like it didn't break, it just fell into my lap, so none of the pigment really got on me. That's the good thing about color. Oh my god, I'm about to fling it again. Let's just show it to you with it closed, but yeah, I do have pan in the middle of the pan, so yeah, I'm not going to show you guys anymore because it's going to fall out. It fell out on my lap, but the good thing about ColourPop shadows is that it stays intact because it's like a cream hybrid kind of eyeshadow, so that's a good thing. The next one I have pan on is Flower Shop, which is this stunning, like, green, I don't even know, it's so freaking gorgeous. It's one of my all-time favorite shadows from ColourPop. It's just so stunningly gorgeous, and this one's in the shade... Yes, it's a pearl eye shade. It's in the shade Flower Shop, Caitlin. Oh my god. I was looking for the finish. The other two, I believe, are pressed pigment or glitter. Porter is pearlized and Cricket is a metallic. Then we have Waddles, which is a satin finish, which I think is kind of dried out. I haven't used my ColourPop shadows in quite a while, since I've been using like other glitters and my Milk pigments and my ColourPop glitters that I don't really tend to grab for the Super Shock shadows anymore. And I think that's it. Oh, the last one I have pan on is Moonshine, which is this stunning brown, like gold shimmery shade. I love this shade. It's so beautiful. But hopefully I'll use those more in 2019. I've just been testing out the Natasha Denona palette a lot, the Huda Beauty palette, the Cherry palette from the Naked Cherry palette from Urban Decay, and the Makeup Forever glitters that I got from Chip. So the last eyeshadow type of products I want to share with you guys is the Stila Magnificent Metal Glitter and Glow eyeshadow in the shade Kitten Karma. I think that this is completely dried out, which I'm not really mad at because this is my most used glitter in my whole collection. This is like my all-time favorite glitter of existence. It's just such a stunning gold shade. But the last time I tried to apply it, I'm not going to swatch it because I didn't bring any makeup wipes or anything in my room because the last time I swatched it, like, it was super glittery on my hand. So the last time I tried to use it, it really did not apply well at all. And people tell me, or on the internet, I've seen that these actually do dry out pretty quickly. And I've had this one, I believe, since Christmas of last year, which was like December 2016. So I've had it for like a year at least, which I can't believe it's only been a year or maybe it's been 2 years. Last Christmas, I believe I was still working at Lucky, so I think I've had this for 2 years. So 2 years is a long time for it to dry out. So if it lasted for 2 years, I'm Gucci. I've had it since, I believe, December 2016. Yeah, just December 2016. So I had it all throughout last year and I believe all throughout this year. And I believe it just started to dry out now. But yeah, the last time I tried to apply it, it didn't really apply at all. So I'm good with the run that I had with this. I'll use it all over my lid. I'll use it on the inner corners. I used this for Halloween for me and one of my friends. I did her makeup with it and I used it on her lid and I believe on her inner corners as well. And then I popped some on my inner corners too. And it was so beautiful. So love this glitter. You can find a lot of these at Marshall's for like $7. They don't have this specific one though, but I probably will go out and repurchase this again at some point. I do have another one that I found at Marshall's recently, which is in the shade Gypsy, which I shared in my last haul video. But I haven't had a chance to use it yet because I've been using the Makeup Forever glitters like almost every time I use a glitter recently, so I can try them out. This one is so stunning on my lid. It's like this blue, white, metallic shade. It's so freaking gorgeous. I love it so much. It reminds me of like snow. It's so pretty. So I just thought it looked beautiful with this look. So yeah, I freaking love this. And I haven't used it again to see if actually it still is completely dried out, but I think it's pretty much completely dried out. So yeah, that's it for eyeshadows. Now let's move on to, I guess we'll move on to foundations because I've used up about 5 or 6 foundations this year. I don't have one of them, which for some reason I threw it out when I had used it up. I don't know why, but I know I shared it in my last one, but we're going to share these 5 foundations with you guys. So, they're just a little bit dusty. Let's just wipe off the tops really quick. Because I keep these in my closet in like a bag, so some of them can get a little bit dusty. Alright, so the first one we might as well share is my Holy Grail all-time favorite foundation. I've went through about 3 of these, and now I'm going to share my 4th bottle with you guys. Pretty much standard for me to use this up. I actually just ordered my 5th bottle of it. And I actually used a credit that I got from returning one of the gifts that I received for Christmas that my boyfriend's mom got for me. I decided to exchange it to just get my Holy Grail foundation because I use this foundation so much. And I just found myself really, really missing it in my collection. So I decided to get it again. But I'm talking about, of course, my Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Foundation in the shade 2. It's just so stunning and luminous and beautiful on the skin, and I just found myself really, really missing it in my collection, so I just really wanted to get it again. But this is my 4th bottle that I've used up. I don't really need to say any more. It's just a beautiful foundation on the skin, and I can't wait to have it in my collection again. I'm so excited to have it again in my life. Speaking of Holy Grail favorite foundation of all time besides the Giorgio Armani foundation is this bad boy right here, and this is the Lancome Teint Idol 24-Hour Makeup, and this one's in the shade 210 Buff N. This is my first bottle that I've used up of this foundation. I'm currently working on my 2nd bottle, and I am actually wearing it today. I've been wearing it a ton since I've repurchased it. I just love this foundation so much. I find it's my most long-wearing, comfortable foundation I've ever had in my life, and it's just so stunning on the skin. I feel like my lipstick is bleeding just a little bit. So this one is just so beautiful on the skin, so weightless, so blendable. I love it so much. I can't rave about this enough. So this is my first bottle I've used up, and I was very torn on whether or not I wanted to get this foundation or the next one I'm going to talk about, but I got this with my 20% off discount at, not discount, the coupon for platinum members at Ulta. So I picked it up with 20% off. So it costed a little bit less than it usually does, and I usually get it at Ulta. So the first time that I got this, I got it at Sephora, and then I was like, oh my god, the platinum coupon went out. I should have gotten it at Sephora. So I returned it at Sephora and then picked it up at Ulta so I could pay less money. So yeah, I got it adjusted, and then I returned the other one. So anyway, the next foundation I wanted to talk about, which definitely looks like it has been used up, is the Dior Skin Forever Perfect Makeup in the shade, I believe, 014, and this one is 014 Ivory. Yes, I used up another Dior foundation. This is actually my 3rd Dior foundation I've used up. I went through 2 full bottles of the Dior Air Flash, and this was only my 2nd Dior foundation in my collection. And I actually just recently picked up a 3rd Dior foundation, but I will show you guys that in a what I got for Christmas haul, and also an upcoming get ready with me of my first impressions on it and everything. But again, this one and this one I found were so similar in formula that the only reason why I picked up the Dior one over the Lancome, the Lancome over the Dior, is I found that the Dior oxidized a little bit more than the Lancome. So I still love the formula of this one, and I was intending on repurchasing this over the repurchasing. I can't even speak. I said repurchasing. I was intending on repurchasing this one when I had a few gift cards on this for Sephora, but I decided to pick up another Dior foundation instead, and I got this one a little while ago, so I've already been using this again, and I picked up the Giorgio Armani one, so I think I'm good for now. But this one is stunning on the skin as well. It's one of my most long-lasting foundations as well. So both of these, I feel like they're almost the same exact formula. I feel like I have to wear both of them at some point. But I kind of feel like I want to pick up this one again at some point. It's such a good foundation. So yeah, both of these are phenomenal. They're so long wearing, so comfortable on the skin. I really do recommend them. Then the next one that I used up is supposed to be a dupe for the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Foundation, but I don't find it to be a dupe. I find that it's much more sheer in coverage as compared to the Giorgio Armani. I know L'Oreal owns Giorgio Armani, but I don't find that this is similar to me. It is a little bit similar, but it's a lot more dewy. It's a lot more dewy coverage than the Giorgio Armani, and I'm talking about the L'Oreal True Match Lumi Foundation. And this one is in the shade N12 Soft Ivory. I do love this foundation as well, and it's a beautiful dewy foundation on the skin. It's a very healthy looking foundation, but I actually just recently got the Cushion foundation from L'Oreal, the True Match Lumi from TJ Maxx for like $5, and that one's also beautiful, and that's like a really beautiful natural looking foundation, this is also basically the same thing, but I kind of like that one better because it's not as shiny as this one. This one is still a really good one, but I also used up my Maybelline Fit Me foundation in the shade Classic Ivory, I believe, and I did pick up a backup of that recently, so I am on my 2nd bottle of that one as well. So I did use up 3 drugstore foundations and 3 high-end ones, so that's pretty good. So I go through foundation like water, and this was the other drugstore foundation that I used up. My neck is starting to hurt me already, but we don't have too many products left. We just have a few face powders and a few bronzers. So the last foundation I wanted to talk about is the number 7 Lift and Illuminate foundation. I can't believe I haven't repurchased this foundation yet. I forgot how much I love this foundation. This is one of my all-time favorites. But again, I find that the Cushion Lumi foundation from L'Oreal is very similar to this one. I might pick this up again in the future if it's on promo. Number 7 is not the cheapest drugstore brand. They're like $15 to $17, so they are a little bit more on the pricey side when it comes to drugstore. Like if you want something super inexpensive, like go for Wet n Wild instead. But this one is an amazing foundation as well, and I love it. So the reason why I have a little bit of product left in it is because when I bought this foundation, I got it when it was about to expire in like a few months. I got it like in September, or I think in September of 2017, and expired in November 2017, and then I was using it throughout the year this past year, so maybe I shouldn't have been doing that. It's probably why I was breaking out a little bit more. But honestly, I found absolutely no problems with it until around a month ago, and I just noticed that it was like irritating my skin when I was wearing it. It wasn't really performing that well, and I was like, I need to get rid of it. And like literally I had like one more use out of it, so I really wish I could have used it up. But basically I've used it up. Like I love this. It's so creamy, so beautiful, love it. It's such an easy throw on foundation. It's amazing. Now for concealers, I don't really have too many to share with you. I go through concealers like water. I used up the Maybelline Fit Me a couple of times this year. I used up the Catrice one. I just don't have any of those with me. I think I shared them in my last products I used up video, and then I chucked them. Because I try to do like a products I've used up / declutter video. Like when I use up like skincare and stuff like that, I do that in one big update. So I think I got rid of some of them. But the only 2 I have here is the ColourPop No Filter Concealer and the Color Fair 5. I think I'm just getting rid of this one because this one isn't really my shade, but you can pretty much say that this is done. There is a little bit of product in here, but honestly I find this one a little bit too yellow for me now. So since I got my correct shade in it, it's not really like heartbreaking for me to get rid of it. So I love this concealer, but I don't really need to keep it in my collection if it's not really the right shade. And then the other one is the Tarte Reinforce of the Sea Aqua Sealer in the shade Fair Light. I've had this concealer for forever, and I've had it in the Fair Light. I mean, there is a little bit of product left in here, but honestly, I don't think I should be using it anymore because I think that this one is expired. I think I've had it for like 2 years now. And I got rid of the foundation a while ago because I did use up the entire thing. And I pretty much used up the entire thing of this as well. This is one of my all-time favorite concealers, you guys. It's just amazing. And I actually just repurchased my second bottle a couple of days ago. I wasn't going to because I wasn't going to support Tarte anymore. But honestly, I really, really miss this concealer in my collection. This is one of my all-time favorite concealers. It's so hydrating, such beautiful coverage. I have it on today, and look how natural it is under my eyes, but it still covers. Like, it's not heavy at all, and it doesn't crease on me. So, I don't know. This is like magic in a bottle for me. This is like one of my all-time favorite concealers, if not my favorite. It's just stunning on the skin, so I had to repurchase it again. I was going to repurchase the YSL Touche Éclat foundation because people said I might like it again if I liked the original one, but I decided to get that one instead, the concealer instead. Okay, now let's talk about a few face powders. So it's really not very hard for me to hit pan on face powders, so I did hit pan on all 3 of my drugstore powders this year. So the first one is the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Pressed Powder in the shade, I believe this is Warm Light number 1. So I'm pretty sure I had hit pan on this in the last video for my update halfway through the year. Sorry, I'm just getting a little bit thirsty. I probably should have some water. I'm almost done though. So this one has a lot of pan in the middle now, so I've hit pan. That's the progress that I've made in the pan in this one. Again, I use this one when I like for really light makeup days. I've been obsessed with the Charlotte Tilbury powder though. I've been using it every day. I think it's so stunning on the skin that yes? Okay, so sorry, my mom was interrupting me like she usually does. So now let's tell you guys about the progress on more of my pressed powder. So that was the first one. Sorry, I'm like, need my water. I decided to get a glass of water when she interrupted me. So anyway, so that's the first powder. Then the next drugstore powder I have pan on is the NYX. Why are these so dirty? Is the NYX HD Finishing Powder in Translucent. This one, for some reason, the cap broke off. So now I'm just going to show you guys the actual pan. So I really didn't make too much progress in this one, but I do have a little bit of baby pan on it in the center, which is right here. You guys could see that. This one really reminds me of the, if you guys could see in the middle, right there. This one really reminds me of the IT Cosmetics Bye Bye Pores powder. And that one, like, I just couldn't keep the pan intact after I tried to repress it. But I did hit pan on it, and I felt like that was like enough use out of the powder, and I feel like this is pretty much a straight up dupe for it. I think that this one's even more lightweight. I love the IT Cosmetics one, but this one is really good as well. So why pay, you know, $20 or $30 when you can pay like $10 for a drugstore powder? Then the next one kind of had a dent in it at one point, and then I slowly hit pan on it anyway. And this one is the Maybelline Fit Me powder. It kind of is crumbly on the inside, so I'm not going to show you guys the whole thing. I felt like things were falling out, but I guess not. So this one is in the shade 110 Porcelain, and that is the shade that I am in the foundation as well. The reason why the dent's so big is because there was a little hole in it. It kind of got like a little shattered when I would put it back, I guess, or like the way I was storing it. When I was using it more and more, but the rest of this progress was me, so that's why I have so much progress on it. So this one's probably not going to be too hard for me to use up at some point. So, and then the next one is a high-end powder that I've been using up for years. I think I'm going to get rid of this one though, because I feel like it's pretty much done. And this one's the MAC Marley Skin Finish in the shade Medium. And pretty much when people say you hit the little grill here of the bottom of the pan, you pretty much have hit pan on it. So I have a massive amount of pan in this because this was my everyday face powder for a long time. So I don't really think it performs as well as it used to though, and I haven't touched it in like months because I use my drugstore powders instead, or my Charlotte Tilbury, or the Giorgio Armani, which I totally forgot to grab. Hold on one second. Oh my god, I'm such a dumbass. I am so sorry. But yeah, I'm probably going to declutter this one. I love it. It's so beautiful, so weightless on the skin. It's one of my favorite powders. But I forgot to grab my Giorgio Armani powder. Like, can you believe I've hit pan on 5 face powders? Like, I use my face powders every single day. So, obviously, I'm going to hit pan on them on some point. So this powder was my absolute favorite powder until the Charlotte Tilbury one came into my life, and I feel like this one's on kind of its last legs because I have so much pan on it, and it's really heartbreaking for me to declutter it because it's like just as expensive as the foundation, which is like $60. Okay, I'm sorry. I thought my boyfriend was here, but he's not here yet, so he was supposed to be here now, but whatever. So this is the progress that I made on the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Powder. So, as you guys can see, I've made a shit ton of progress. Sorry if I'm like kind of blinding you. I kind of go like this and I'm like, wait, maybe I should hold it back here. So yeah, basically when I use this now, I have to swirl like my entire brush in it. And I feel like it's not really doing much now, but I'm going to use this until the end of time. So, but I really don't want to go out and repurchase this. I was going to repurchase it when I had my gift cards for Christmas, but then I decided to get the Charlotte Tilbury powder instead like a little while ago with the $25 coupon. I still love this. It's one of my all-time favorite powders, like basically my all-time favorite, and it's crazy how much pan I actually have in it. Maybe I will end up using up the pan in a couple of months, but I really don't want to because it's so expensive and I love it. But yeah, I guess we'll see. And then the last powder I have to share with you guys is my Hourglass Ambient Lighting Powder. I'm still thrown off now because I don't know when he's going to get here. In the shade Ethereal Light. And I have went through one of them before. They say you're supposed to declutter them after like 2 years because they pretty much last 2 years. But after I pretty much made this much progress in the pan, and I pretty much use this every single day of my life as my finishing powder, but I don't really use a finishing powder anymore, and I'm not really going to go and repurchase these expensive ass powders every single time that I want a finishing powder. I can just use the NYX one if I really want a finishing powder, but I just use a setting spray now. I don't think it's really necessary to use a finishing powder. Everything pretty much ties together with your regular face powder. So yeah, this is how much progress I made in the Ethereal Light one. I love this one. It's so gorgeous, but these are really expensive powders, so I'm probably not going to repurchase anything from Hourglass for a while. I actually just ordered their Hourglass Mineral Veil powder in the Mineral Veil powder in the travel size, so I'm really excited to try that one because everyone keeps on raving about it. So, but these are amazing powders if you guys are willing to splurge. These are absolutely stunning. So that is it for face powders. So I hit pan on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 powders this year. Well, this year I hit pan on 4, and the other 2 I had pan for a while, which is the Hourglass and the MAC. So that's pretty good. Now let's move on to bronzers. I don't have any pan and any new highlighters or blushes. I can't hit pan in blushes. It's just way too hard for me. I'm wearing my all-time favorite blush today, which is Madly by NARS, and I've been trying to hit pan on it for like 50 million years, and I still have not had any progress or any pan on it at all. So I keep on trying to use it when I can, but I just don't have any pan on it. So we're just going to move on to powders. I'm tired, you guys. I had to be up at 8:30 this morning. I worked from 10 to 3, and now I'm waiting for my boyfriend. It's now 6 o'clock. So the next one, oh my god. So the first bronzer I have to share with you guys is my Marc Jacobs Instamark Dreamer Filter in the shade 2, right? No, Dream Filter. Instamark Dream Filter. And this is the bronzer slash contour side, so I wanted to show you guys how much progress I made in that this year. I'm probably going to use this up this year. I don't reach for this as much as I used to throughout the beginning of last year because I found a lot of natural bronzers I like besides this one, which is like the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer and the Milani Baked bronzer, which I absolutely love. That's one of my favorite like summer bronzers and also one of my favorite like natural bronzers. But this one is beautiful as well. So you can use this as a contour or as a bronzer. It's really beautiful, really natural, never looks patchy. It's just so beautiful and I love this guy. I'm probably not going to repurchase this though because this one is like $50. But you do get a hell of a lot more product than the Giorgio Armani, but it's one of my favorites. I love this guy. So but I don't really use the other side often enough to justify the price. If I only use one side of it, it's kind of a waste. So I'm not going to repurchase that. But it was beautiful to try. So the next bronzer, this is the first one. Wait, I'm pretty sure this is the first one I hit pan on this year. So this one is the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. And it took me a while to hit pan on it. But I did use this almost every single day for like natural makeup looks. And also this is really beautiful just to bronze up the skin if you're like in a rush and you need something to bronze your skin. It's really gorgeous. A lot of people talk about this for a reason. It is like a stunning bronzer. It's not orange or anything. It's just really beautiful on the skin. So this one is the just regular light bronzer. And this is how much progress I have in that. I also have a little bit of pan in this part right here as well. So that is the pan that I have in the butter bronzer from Physicians Formula. Again, a really awesome bronzer. Then the next bronzer I have pan on is the Kevyn Aucoin, the Neo Bronzer in the shade Capri, which is one of the products that came in like this little trio. And this is the bronzer part of it. It's like a bronzer slash blush. And I hit major pan on the bronzer part of the pan because this is more of like the blush part and this is kind of like the bronzer part, and this is a really beautiful bronzer and I love using this. So this is the pan that I made in that, so that is a lot of progress. There's not too much product in here, so I wasn't very surprised that I hit pan on it as quickly as I did, but I did hit pan on it like a few months ago. So that is the Kem and Aquan bronzer. I almost dropped that. You can find this trio, it's the Neo Trio palette. You can find this at TJ Maxx for like 20 bucks. But I actually got this cheaper at Sephora when they did their sale on sale, because this was like their sale on sale last year where it's like an extra 20% off of sale items. I got it for the weekly wow, and then it was an extra 20% off. So I got it for like $14 or $15 for like all 3 products, which was really worth it. So, and these are really good sample sizes, so you don't need to bother getting the full-size products if you can try them in this little trio. It's a good buy. And then the last bronzer I have to share is the NARS Stephen Klein palette. I have had a lot of progress on the NARS Laguna bronzer, and this one is that guy right here. As you guys can see, I have a pretty big dent in the Laguna bronzer. I think like earlier this year, the pan was pretty small. Alright, so he's probably going to be here at 6:30, which I could have eaten sushi with my mom and my dad now before I went to his house, but I didn't. I thought he was going to be here earlier. I'm kind of annoyed now, and I'm really tired, and I wanted to have sushi, but whatever. So this is the pan that I have in the Laguna bronzer, so I have a lot of pan in that guy. This is one of my favorite bronzers as well. It has such a beautiful undertone. I think it's really beautiful for a lot of skin tones, like fair to medium skin tones. And Laguna is like a cult classic for a reason, but I think I'm getting really tired of them sticking it in literally every single limited edition palette. But what I do like about the NARS limited edition palettes is that you get a ton of product in them for a lot less of the price of the individual ones. Like the individual Laguna bronzer is like $45 when you can get 6 blushes in the Laguna bronzer for $60 in this palette. And these are really big pans. Like, I'm never going to go through these. So this was a crazy good value. So I just continue to use the bronzer in here. So that is it for bronzers. Now I just have one highlighter, which is the Becca Shimmering Skin Perfector in the shade Opal. I didn't hit pan on any other highlighters, and I've had pan in this highlighter for like a million years, but I just wanted to show you guys the progress real quick. I was going to use this highlighter today, but I decided to use a little bit of Ofra and a little bit of the Too Faced Unicorn highlighter, and I just think it looks beautiful. I should have used this one today, though, but I kind of forgot to use it, so I'm probably going to use it tomorrow to work or something when I go to work. And this is the progress that I made in that in the middle of the pan. I was trying to hit pan on Lancome's Sparkling Peach and Ofra's Rodeo Drive the last half of the year this year, but I didn't hit pan on either of them, so I was just going to show you guys this one. Again, I have only hit pan in Becca's Opal and Champagne Pop, but the reason why I'm not showing you Champagne Pop is because I had to repress it because it kind of got shattered after I hit pan on it, and by the way I was storing it. And then I have the Jaclyn Hill face palette with Champagne Pop in it, so I've just been using that one, and I don't reach for it half as much as I used to. And this one I don't really reach for as much either. I found other formulas I like a little bit more than Becca, but Becca still has a really solid, beautiful highlighter formula. So that is it for powder products. Now we're just going to share a couple of lipsticks. The first one, I can't believe how much progress I've actually made in this lipstick. I didn't use up any lipsticks. For liquid lipsticks, I did have a few dry out on me, like Dose of Colors Truffle. I think a couple of Lime Crime ones, but I'm still keeping them in my collection, and I will update you guys throughout the year if I do end up decluttering them. Oh my god, my neck is killing me sitting in this chair. Holy shit balls. So the ColourPop Lippy Stick in the shade Aquarius is probably the lipstick I've made the most progress on any of my lipsticks in any of my collection. I never use up a lipstick, you guys. It's so hard for me. I get so overwhelmed with lipsticks. But this guy, look at this. That's how much product I have left in here. And you guys know with the lippy sticks, like there's pretty much this much product when you actually roll it up. I don't know if I damaged it by rolling it up too much, but I'm pretty sure I haven't. I'm pretty sure I haven't, because this is one of my all-time favorite nude lipsticks. So I'm going to say that I'm probably going to use this up within this next year. Hopefully. I'm going to goal myself to try and use it up again, and I think I might actually do it this time. This is one of my all-time favorite nudes. This is the Kathleen Lights Aquarius shade. Alright, 3 MAC lipsticks real quick. The first one is matte, the matte finish in the shade Velvet Teddy. This is the progress that I made on it this year. And then I'll show you guys Honey Love as well, which is the matte worm shade. So these are always the two I try to use up in 2018 or 17. I've been goaling myself to use these up for a while. So I've made a lot of progress with Velvet Teddy. You guys can see that. Hopefully I will use this one up within this next year. But Honey Love, I don't think I'm anywhere close to using this up. Hopefully I'll use up Velvet Teddy. But that is crazy how much progress I made on that one. And then the last one I wanted to show you guys is Blankety, which I also use a ton as well, which that one pretty much has the same amount of product used up as Honey Love. So that one is an amplified finish. These are all like my favorite nudes of all time. And then the last one is NARS's Raquel, which I think I'm going to get rid of because the last time I used it, I felt like it smelled a little bit old. It smells a little bit old, honestly, so I don't know if I'm going to keep this in my collection anymore, but these are so expensive, but I've had this for like almost, I think like 3 years or so, and I never really wear it anymore, because the last time I wore it, I felt like it smelled a little bit weird, but as you guys can see, like the N and the A are pretty much gone, so like pretty much only the R and the S are left, because it says NARS on the actual tube. So that's crazy to me. It's a gorgeous, stunning formula. I love the NARS lipsticks, and that's it. Oh, Jesus. Of course, it falls out of the tube. So that's it, you guys. Oh my god, my neck is really hurting me. I feel like I had something else to say about concealers. I just haven't really repurchased too many. I really have been like just going with drugstore ones, and the same thing with foundations. But I used up a ton of foundations this year, so I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I really hope you guys have a safe and happy new year. I love you guys, and see you guys in 2019. And I will also be posting my Best in Beauty very, very soon. I just have to film them. I just thought that this video would be a lot easier for me to film before my boyfriend gets here. So I love you guys, and I can't wait to be posting more throughout the break for you guys. And yeah, bye!